Hey everybody, what's going on? Thank y'all for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. I know I haven't been posting much here recently. I'm sitting in the new boat. I hope y'all saw that video. If you haven't, make sure to check it out. But I have been fishing a good bit this summer. It's just been so hot during the daytime. The fishing has just not been that great. We've been doing a lot of stuff at night or late in the evening, early in the morning, and it's just kind of hard to film at night. I mean, obviously it's dark. You can't really tell much from the GoPro camera. So I haven't done too many videos, but once we start to get through August, tournaments kick back up the end of August, and they go through November. So I'm going to be back on my normal schedule here pretty soon. Like I said, just you'll have to bear with me. It's kind of hard to film at night, but I'm just going to do a video talking about fishing at night, which is what I've been doing. And I should have done this video 2 months ago when summer started, so I'm kind of behind on it. But I'm going to be talking about my 3 favorite baits to throw on a dock light. And when I say a dock light, I mean like a floodlight that somebody's got on their boat dock, shining in the water, an underwater light, the big green lights that glow, the yellow lights that glow, orange lights, just whatever color that may be, a submerged light around a dock or, out on a point, just wherever somebody may have put a light for fish attraction. I'm just going to talk about my 3 favorite baits. And generally, the fishing on the dock lights is better earlier in the year because the fish, it's kind of new. The lakes, starting to get warm. Their fish are post-spawn. Generally, once the dock lights start to come into play, it's usually mid to late spring, and then early summer is when I really start to focus on fishing them. And, when it first starts, the fishing's kind of easy on them. The fish are pretty dumb, I guess. They haven't seen that many baits yet. They're on them lights starting to feed, and they'll pretty much bite whatever. But this time of the year, late summer, I mean, if you get out into a lake right now, like Lake Wedowee, for example, there's people fishing every single night, especially on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, the lake's packed, lots of people fishing. So the fish have seen a lot of baits, but I'm just going to go over my 3 favorite. I mean, these rods I literally just pulled out of the rod locker, didn't put nothing on, knew like this is what I had used last time I was out fishing. And the first thing that I have is just a fluke. That's just a white and silver. Hopefully you can see that pretty good. That's actually a junior fluke, the small size, and just a little, circle hook, a little wacky worm hook on there, nose hooked. I just like to throw that on a spinning rod, twitch that thing around, let it sink, pull it a little bit, just depending on how the fish, the mood they're in, you can kind of vary what you do with this bait. But, you can work it like a jerk bait kind of quick. You can work it on top of the water. You can let it sink real slow and pull it along like a dying shad. Just whatever you want to do. This is just a really good bait to fish a dock light. They're keening on those shad that are around them. And that's a perfect little shad imitator. And another bait that I'll give it an honorable mention is a little swim bait, like a little 2.5 or 3.5, a little swim bait like on a swim bait head, or you could even put it weightless like this and nose hook it and just slow roll it. Just a little swim bait like this, something that's really small that imitates a shad. That's what those fish are really keen on, them lights. So a little bait like this is perfect. So that's the first one. That's generally what I'm going to start with. I'm going to throw that in there and see, how active are the fish, do they react to it, do they not? So I'll try that a couple times and, just kind of gauge how the fish are acting. And then my second bait that I'll go to, which is more, I mean, obviously it'll catch 12 inchers or 6-pounders, but this right here is something that I'll throw every time I'm on a light. I'm throwing this bait. I don't usually start with it. I just want to kind of see how they're acting. If they're biting pretty good, I'll start with the fluke, and then if they slow down, I'll switch to this. But that's just going to be a big worm. This is just, a green pumpkin power worm. It's a 10-inch worm. I've cut down the head a little bit. It's kind of on an oversized, shaky head. I'm not sure what size head that is. It's either a 3/16, a 3/8, or like a quarter. I know it's not a half, but it's just, a pretty decent size head, about a 4 or 5/0 hook. I'm just throwing this on a bait caster. I normally don't throw a shaky head on a bait casting rod, but this is an oversized, a big shaky head. I used to throw them on a Texas rig, but for some reason I just feel like I just like throwing these big worms on these shaky heads like this. Like I said, that's just a green pumpkin worm, a 10-inch curly tail worm. And the only other color that I'll throw is black or black and blue. You only need 3 colors to fish at night, in my opinion. A shad color, so a white and a silver, a green, and a black and blue. I mean, at night, the fish are kind of basing what they're doing off of shadows a lot of times. So a black worm is perfect, but they don't really know what's going on. They can see the shadow, the outline, and they just know that it's something they can eat. So a dark color worm usually works better for me. But like I said, just throwing this on a shaky head, a big oversized shaky head on a worm rod. And this is something that I'm going to throw, like I said, kind of like a follow-up bait, or if they're not really active on the fluke, I'll throw this thing in there. And it's really good if you have a light that's got some brush on it around a boat dock. You know, you can kind of work it through there and fish the bottom section of the light, because sometimes those bass will sit on the very bottom and they're not always at the top where the bait fish and the little brim are. So that's a really good bait. I really like to throw that thing. I mean, obviously it's a summertime staple, a big worm, but I really like throwing it at night. You know, you can get a big bite doing that. And then the last thing that I like to throw is another worm, but it's more of a finesse. This is the last thing that I'll go to on a light, and I'll pull them out of the pack so you can see them a little bit better. It's no secret, you know, this video it's not a very complex video. I mean, there's not many complex, difficult things about fishing these Docklights. This is literally a green pumpkin wacky worm and a black and blue one. I mean, that's my third thing that I'll go to. Just like I said, on the same spinning rod, I'll throw it on there, same hook, just toss these around and let them just slow sink, let them fall, twitch them every once in a while. But if you got to throw these, the fish probably aren't biting that good. You just fish them really slow, let them sink to the bottom, pick them up a little bit and let them drop back down. You're just going to fish this almost painfully slow, but just a little wacky worm on those Docklights. And like I said, throwing that on the same rod as the fluke. And a key to fishing Docklights, I think, especially this time of the year, as you get more pressure, I think finesse fishing with smaller baits and smaller fishing line can make a big difference. I mean, this is a 7'1" spinning rod, you know, medium action, a 2500 size reel, so pretty standard equipment. But this is 15-pound braid, but I have anywhere from a 6-pound to an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. I think that makes a big difference. It makes your bait act more naturally. I think the fish on them Docklights, I think they can see the light or the line sometimes. That might just be me, but I think I have better success on really light line. You know, yeah, you might break a fish off, but I would rather get the bite and break the fish off than never get the bite in the first place. So I like to use downsized line, but like I said, on a spinning rod setup, I'm using anywhere from 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon, and you know, like I said, just a finesse setup. You know, nothing too intrusive, nothing real flashy. And there are times where you can throw like a crankbait or a jerk bait or a top water or spinner baits. A big bait will get a bite sometimes, but when it gets this time of the year and they've seen a bunch of baits and the fishing gets really tough, the water's super hot, they just don't want that much movement. This is my downsized or my more finesse baits. And then the same goes for my bait casting setup. I'm throwing, you know, 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon on this big worm. I know that's pretty light, but like I said, I'd rather get the bite and break it off than never get the bite to begin with. But 10 or 12 pound line, I mean, unless you're around some really thick stuff or you catch hook a big fish and it hangs you up, you know, you're not going to have any problems breaking fish off. Like I said, just finessing your baits a little bit, downsizing can make a really big difference this time of the year fishing these Docklights. And if you're around the West Georgia, East Alabama area and you'd like to go fishing on a Docklight at Lake Wedowee, let me know. I'm doing some guide trips right now. Like I said, doing them at night, fishing these Docklights. And of course, we can use live bait to catch crappie, white bass, hybrid, you know, all that good stuff. Like I said, if you're interested in a trip with me, let me know. Send me a message, we can go. But like I said, if you're out there on the lake and you're struggling to catch fish in the daytime, get out there, you know, get your navigation lights on, get your life jacket on, all your safety equipment. You know, if you're fishing at night, you got to be safe, got to be careful. But like I said, you try these baits, a little fluke, a wacky worm, or a trick worm style bait, weightless, and then of course your big worm. You'll definitely be able to get some bites. You can put some really nice fish in the boat, or you can catch some numbers. Just, you know, it works great for size and numbers. You know, that's, like I said, these are my 3 top baits that I'm using. But like I said, it's been a while since I've posted a video, so I'm going to try to get back to it here. My school starts back here pretty soon, which I honestly like that. It helps me get in a routine. You know, I like to kind of stay busy. I've got work, school, fish videos. I like to have a lot going on. It keeps me, you know, busy. I like to have a schedule. So this summer, you know, I don't have school going on, so I kind of slack off a little bit and get kind of lazy, but I'm getting back into it. I'm looking forward to class starting back. Like I said, getting my normal routine, but these are some great baits to go and try, and hopefully next time you're out there on the water and it's no good during the daytime, you can slide out there at night, look for some docks, look for areas on the lake that have a bunch of docks, a lot of houses, and generally you can find some lights to go fish. But like I said, just be safe, just drive slow, and try these 3 baits, and you'll definitely get some bites and put some nice fish in the boat. And until next time, like I said, y'all be safe, good luck, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all later.